Hi, I'm Kate. Welcome to Blooms in the Yard. I'm going to do a garden walk, and to me that just means a little more casual. I'm not going to go over every plant, but I'm going to focus on what's going on right now in the garden, the good and the bad. I know I just showed this garden gate area recently, so I'm not going to super focus on this. I'll just kind of focus on things that I'm really liking right now. So I believe it's either lilac time or lavender perfection. I can't remember, but my dahlias were really struggling just a few days ago. Well, in my sun border tour, they all were looking really frayed and eaten up around the edges. Whatever was going on, they're looking a lot better now. So I'm excited about that. This area still looking really nice. You might notice that we have, got an ant on me, something new here. I don't know if this is going to stay here. So it was in my side garden and the construction guys took it down. And I mean, I really have a lot of options. I could put it over the sidewalk. When I put it here, my son said, well, it just looks weird because you don't have a path there yet. And I said, well, there's a grass path. And he looked at me like I was crazy. So I thought that was kind of funny. To me, that is a little path, but it's like a little path that then opens into an open area. And then here would be the third option. Again, it's a grass path. So, yeah, we tried it in all three places, and I think I liked it in this opening the most, but it is a little weird because when people are walking up to the house, I think it feels like now this is the main entrance. And so I do think maybe it will make more people walk on the grass, which might not be good for the grass, but I don't know that I would want it to be here. So you guys can let me know your opinion on that. These cherry twist snapdragons, I showed them earlier, maybe in June or maybe even May, and they were just kind of tall, and you know, each plant had like maybe 1 or 2 stems, and somebody said just cut them down, they'll branch out. And I haven't had a lot of luck with some of the taller snapdragons in the past. Even when I cut them down, they're still kind of long and leggy. But these, I'm glad that I followed that advice and stuck with them, didn't give up, because it's a nice little patch here of snapdragons right now. These daisies always look really nice with the red coleus, which I generally grow in this area. One thing that hasn't really taken off is the Vinca. It must not be getting enough sun, because I'll show you in some other areas the Vinca has really filled in. So I think it's not getting quite enough sun. This is a wee white hydrangea, and my sedum, Elacombianum, I think is how you pronounce that, is blooming nicely. So yeah, these Vinca, it's like each plant has 1 or 2 blooms. So I'm thinking that's got to be from lack of sun. Also, this tree like wasn't really much of anything last year. I grew it from a whip, and so it's really just become a tree very recently. The purple Pallas Heuchera, too much sun. So this is way too much sun for that. So it's a tricky spot that I need to figure out. Then over here, this area has filled in a little bit since my last front tour. I do need to water the Gomphrena. We've had 3 days in a row, the hottest days, right around 100 degrees. So the Gomphrena is a little sad right now, but I am enjoying the Gomphrena with the Scabiosa kind of intermingling over here. I'm enjoying that, and the Coreopsis too. They're all kind of wispy, So I think I'm starting to embrace this area. Like I said, this Gomphrena needs watered, but it was looking pretty good. Over here, these Foxglove. These are blooming the first year. This is the Camelot Rose, but I've sacrificed height. So I think it might be worth it to grow the biennials that I have to wait 2 years in order to get the height. And maybe it's something to do with just where I have them planted or something like that. We're going to ignore that goldenrod. It's going away once a spot opens up for it, hopefully very soon. Because the construction over there, it's getting there. It's moving along. So this area, I finally was able to uncover the Celosia, and the rabbits aren't really messing with it anymore. I did spray it when I first uncovered it, but I don't think they've really been in here, which my theory was that eventually they would stop messing with it, because last year they only ate down one, but this year they wouldn't stop messing with it, so I did cover it for a while. This area is kind of a favorite area right now, mostly just because of this Downy Skullcap that's filling in everywhere. So there's one Downy Skullcap plant, and that's all these light purple flowers. It's kind of flopping everywhere. I put it behind this boxwood because it is kind of floppy, and it's working out pretty well. I did chop this one down with the trimmer today. There was more of it, but it just blooms so much. And look all along, so the stem is flopped here. And then look at all these blooms coming off of that stem. So what a great plant. So again, here's the stem, and look at all these blooms off of this one stem. And then more coming. So I really do love this Scabiosa, not Scabiosa, Downy Skullcap. This is the first time that I've put these Zinnias here in this back corner. It's just a little tiny corner of dirt, and the rest is gravel. Last year I had all pots there, but this year I added a bench. I'll go around and we'll look at that in a minute, but I'm liking those Zinnias there, so I think I'll continue to do that in the future. So down here, let's see, that is some Celosia that I grew. A little bit of sedum. This is the dazzleberry sedum. Rosemarvel salvia. This is the sweet summer panicle hydrangea. I think I just decided I'm going to try a Brunnera down here, because I've got a couple of baby Brunneras that are getting hit by the lawnmower. So I've been trying to decide what to do with this spot, and I just have this kind of gangly looking mint, so possibly in the future a Brunnera there. This area looking pretty similar to, I showed it in maybe the last tour, but I do want to show this little corner. It's all kind of hiding back here, but there's some really beautiful things. This is Cardinal Clematis. I just noticed this today. So this is what I've been seeing, and I noticed this red, and I was like, ooh, and then it looks really beautiful with the Lisianthus. Now the Lisianthus, it's not quite tall enough for this corner, but it's so pretty. Really, really pretty back in here. So I will definitely be growing it again, just maybe finding a better spot for it. This is just a few days later, and look how glorious this area is looking now. I think this is a salvia. It's as tall as I am, so I'm gonna have to find just the right spot for it. It's just beginning to bloom. And then also in this area I have lots of zinnias. This is the Dream Deep zinnia mix. They're, for some reason I thought deep meant that they would be like a deep purple. They're not. They're pink and purple, but they're light. I have put a little bit of Verbena Bonariensis in here, some seedlings that came up in other places in the yard, so I'd love for that to fill in more, a little bit more of those dahlias. Both that dahlia and that dahlia lives through the winter here. So, and both of them, this is their 3rd year in the ground. So that's a fun fact. I don't think I said yet, I'm in Shawnee, Kansas, zone 6B. So generally I wouldn't expect dahlias to live through the ground here, to live through the winter here in the ground, but evidently they can. So got a giant kale here. Those zinnias. Down here I have like 9 pepper plants. I'm not going to really go through here in depth. I've got 2 cucumbers there. There's my little bench with my zinnias behind. My green beans are coming in pretty well. And then back there I have a bunch of morning glories, not blooming right now. It's evening, and a sun gold tomato. And then this is a massive Mountain Magic tomato. This area just feels so romantic to me. I have this firelight hydrangea and then this urn with the draping. I know that my big huge succulent in there, I just moved it, and then we had 3 days of really hot weather, so it got a little bit sad. But the salvia, this is blue queen salvia and rose marvel salvia, the zinnias, the Russian sage. This is a crepe myrtle that's been here since I moved in. This is the Serious Blue salvia. And then I have 5 little petite red knockout roses here, which are in their 2nd kind of flush, although they've really been pretty consistent. There was one point where I kind of cut almost everything back. These are those ball basil. Serious Blue salvia right here. And here's an example of some Vinca that, you know, has really filled out a lot better and is looking better. Gosh, I'm just really good. This Gomphrena wants water really bad. I'm gonna back up here. Probably shouldn't be doing a tour like after the 3 hottest days of the year. I'm not gonna go over the sun border because I just did a whole video about the sun border, but I did just want to show how much better these are doing. In the sun border tour, they were looking pretty eaten up, and those weren't old blooms. Those were blooms that hadn't even fully opened yet. So I don't, you know, I'm not sure if that was an insect problem. A master gardener that I showed the pictures to did say he thought it was environmental stress, which basically means I either overwatered or underwatered when it was too hot. So I suspect, yeah, I'm not even sure, but they have recovered, and all of my dahlias were doing that. This is an older bloom here, but all of them are looking much better. I'm happy to report. Crepe myrtles, catmint, echinacea, black-eyed Susans, Millennium Allium, a little bit further along than it was in that video. We did see a little bit of this in the sun border video. but I wanted to show more are opening up. I got even at least a few more buds coming. I'm really enjoying this Alstroemeria. Did get a little eaten by rabbits. I think it's supposed to be a perennial, so we'll see. I'll be excited if it is. It's a pretty plant. That phlox and bee balm in the back there. Oh, I did forget to show you in this area, I've got all these cherry tomatoes, sun gold cherry tomatoes. So this is covered in those. I just want to point out how much more I like doing this sun gold tomato as an espalier. So in the past, so here's the plant. In the past, I have put a tomato cage in the middle, and then once it kind of outgrew that tomato cage, it would just flop everywhere. And it was very hard to reach in and get the tomatoes. It was just a big mess. So this year I decided, let's skip the cage, and I'm just gonna wind the branches through, I'll step back, through these 3 trellises. And oh my gosh, it's like night and day. It's so much better. I can reach everything on this side super easily. I'm not like having to like reach inside with spiders and all that fun stuff. And then on the other side, I can reach things really well too. So I'm definitely going to be doing this again and considering maybe doing the same thing over here with this massive Mountain Magic. If I could espalier this, maybe even like going in the corner, that could really work. Because again, I'm having the same problem as like, how do I get back in here and get this stuff out of here? It's not easy. Like I really have to dig back there. So I'm thinking I'm gonna try to espalier this next year. It was significantly easier than I thought it would be. I thought, I didn't think I'd be able to keep up with it. I thought it would be a pain. It really wasn't at all. And again, here is the sun gold tomato from the other side. I've got about maybe 2.5 feet here. So super easy for me to just come right up and grab these tomatoes off of this side. So really working out well for me. It is the next morning, and I thought that we should see these morning glories in all their glory. So let's hop into the potager real quick and take a look. Every year I say I'm not going to let them grow because they take over the tomatoes. You can see they're all intertwined together. But then when they start growing, I'm like, oh, maybe just I'll let one grow. And then the next thing you know, they're everywhere again. But they're so pretty. Look at this sun gold. I love that. Just absolutely love it. I don't know where these came from, these lilies. I knew those other lilies were here, but these are different. And maybe these are the Black Beauty. Yep, I do think these are the Black Beauty. I had forgotten that I put a couple little pieces over here when I dug up my large Black Beauties and moved them. I had some smaller pieces of bulbs and I stuck them in here to see if they would grow and forgot about it. So I didn't recognize them because they're so much smaller. The petals are not curling back as much, but now that I'm looking more closely at them, they definitely are the Black Beauty lilies, and I will go ahead and leave them in the potager until next year and see what I think of having these really tall lilies in this garden. So here's a quick update on this planter, which I did show on the channel. The sorrel has gotten fairly large, but not nearly as bad as it has in the rest of the garden. I'll show you that here in a minute. This yellow Tokyo Sunseedum has filled in well. This Echeveria looks good. The hen and chicks. I had 2 little babies. One of them survived. There were a couple things in here that I think did not survive, but let's see. There's a little bit of the jade. So I'm probably, here, I'll probably just go ahead and do it now. I will probably just remove some of these larger pieces and just have the smaller leaves in there again. There we go. Okay, so I think it's looking a little bit better. I maybe should take the Vinca out of there. It's a little bit too tall. I might do that actually. Not right now. This is a garden walk. I'm not going to get distracted. So you can see that I cut that sorrel all the way back because it was flopping all the way out to here. Here's one that I didn't cut back. I thought it would be kind of pretty in the garden. I'm not loving it. It's a little bit too big for me, so I won't probably grow that again. Maybe I'll try it somewhere out in the landscape, but not in the potager, just like one big sort of piece in the landscape. Maybe I would like that better. This one, and none of these are getting probably as much sun as they would like. I mean, you can't even see the ones I put back here. They're really back in there. So maybe I need to try them somewhere else. But in general, I did not fall in love with the sorrel. So this, unfortunately, is what my nasturtiums usually look like. And I felt like I've been watering them well this year, but probably not. Probably. Still failing at watering. It's been so hot and I'm not watering every day by any means. But here is one, it's a little bit shaded. It's on the north side of the green beans, so it's doing a little bit better. Still not looking wonderful. I'm gonna see, there are some hiding back here. Let's see how they're doing. You can see a little piece of one in there. Nope, those aren't looking great. It's one of those things I just need to give up on, and I don't know why that is so hard for me to give up on that particular thing. I think because my friend Sue, hers looks so wonderful every year, and I'm always like, well, she can do it. I thought it would be fun to have me in the shot with the Empress Wu hosta, because whenever I show it, I feel like you don't quite get the size. So it's definitely about 5 feet across. And I actually even trim some of the leaves over by the boxwood. So this is my Empress Wu. But one other thing that I wanted to show you is these hostas are from the demo house. So they were a mystery hosta. And they're just like a plain green. So I was like, I don't know how exciting they are. But I went ahead and left them because they are kind of a bright spot here against that Vinca. Well, the blooms I think are really pretty because they're a bright white. So I don't think I've seen that before, a solid white bloom on a hosta. They're almost always purple. I feel like they have a pretty nice shape. So I did want to show these to you. So maybe you guys have seen this before and it's not that unusual, but I just didn't remember seeing these solid white hostas before. And if you're the type of person who just gets rid of the blooms right away, maybe this doesn't interest you, but I leave my blooms as long as they look nice, and then when they start to look yucky, I get rid of them. But I was really enjoying these, just an unusual color. We'll see, maybe they'll get a little more purple if the weather changes or as they fade. But right now I am enjoying these, and I'm glad that I left them and gave them a shot, even though they were just sort of a plain green hosta. I don't have a lot of blooms on my Ruby Slippers oak leaf. I need to figure that out. I would say that not enough sun, but my oak leaves in back aren't getting that much sun, I don't think, so not sure. But they are turning pink, which is fun. Then back here, I was excited to show that the hyacinth bean vine has reached the top of the trellis. So it's been about, I think, a month since it really started growing. I think it was right around here the last time I showed it. So thought I would show how well that is doing. And I didn't know how big the Clematis would get, but it is up to there. I have one tiny little bloom now. I just moved this Clematis this spring, so, oh, that bloom is finishing up too, but not looking too impressive right now. I don't, let's see, are these, might have a couple of blooms coming there, unless those are leaf buds. I think those are flower buds. But yeah, I'll be excited to see the hyacinth bean take off. And then this little phlox. I just love how phlox keep going. This is the one thing that, well, there's probably other things you shouldn't deadhead, but definitely never deadhead your phlox because they will look like they're done and then they'll come back. I wanted to show you the Boston ivy, although I'll probably get a hard time about it again. It's definitely taken off and I'm happy with it. Looks like it's going to want to grow that way towards the sun. And my plan is for now to try to keep it on the chimney. So we'll see how that goes, but definitely a vigorous grower. I probably need to come water this guy, but looking good, but probably could use a bit of water. Let's see, what back here do I need to highlight? This is the Invincible lace. These on the right are all Annabelles. I'm going to be doing something with this area right here because I'm still not happy with it. I've redone it many times, but twice recently, and it needs a makeover. I did stick some impatiens in there. Well, I don't think I even posted the last changes I made because I'm like, those changes aren't even staying. So I don't even think I posted the change of putting the hosta there. I guess I can point out the dots on the spots on this. It's a fungus. It supposedly won't come back next year. I mean, not necessarily, right? Unless we have similar conditions. It's been really wet, which is great for some things, but of course causes a lot of fungus to grow. This guy's going to be moving because basically I want something that's going to cover that chain link fence better. And when I looked at the tag on that, it doesn't get as big as I thought it would. And then this Invincible Spirit, I know I just moved it, but it's, again, I'm just not confident that it's going to fill in that area. Anyway, that's changing. This Japanese maple is doing well. It's always had kind of a strange growth habit, but I would say that it's looking pretty healthy. And I did put the red there because I thought it would contrast well with that green bark. This was a Patriot hosta, but something weird is happening. So we'll probably just get rid of that altogether. Okay, here's how this is looking. Not spectacular. It was starting to look like Cousin It. The black-eyed Susan vine was everywhere. And I mean, most of the plants were completely covered up. Like you can see that was getting smothered. So I did cut back the black-eyed Susan vine. It's not blooming. So that's a bummer. It has bloomed a little bit here and there, but overall that container's not impressing me. This guy, I've just got the Impatiens and the Hellebore. I could come in here and do a little bit of deadheading on this Hellebore, although no, it's too spidery for me. Anyway, could take that brown out, but it's a little bit spidery right now. Let's see. Of course, I always need to show the snowflake oak leaf hydrangea. So here's the current state. Still not turning super pink yet, but really beautiful. I think it'll turn more pink if we ever get like really cool temperatures. Like today's not. It's like cool for compared to being miserable the last 3 days, but it's not like super cool. If you ever wanted a shrub that makes blooms like that Kent Beauty oregano, snowflake oak leaf hydrangea is the way to go. So I have a Japanese painted fern in here, one impatient, this blue hosta, and then this superstar hardy begonia. This did bloom for me last year, so I'm looking forward to that blooming in the fall. Random, that Christmas fern is one of the first things I planted in my garden, along with 3 astilbe. They were all bare root from Walmart. And those are the 3 things that are still in my garden. This is, I think, the Gatsby pink. And this is what happens when it gets to be 100 degrees. It's hard for these things to keep up with that. So I just have to decide if I'll keep them around when they're a little bit brown or not. I probably will. So this Alice oak leaf has officially been out of the ground for 2 weeks. It's been ridiculously hot. If you can see, it's just in the root balls in a tarp. There's 2 wet towels in there, and I've just been wetting down the root ball. I've also been, some days, not every day, wetting down the leaves in the hottest part of the day. So that's how I'm keeping that alive. I'm pretty shocked at how well it's doing. I think I need to trim the bottom of that ajuga, not ajuga. I always do that thuja, which is arborvitae. This is Little Joe Pieweed. So it was kind of back behind everything in the side garden before I moved it all. And now it gets kind of a front and center spot, which is pretty exciting. This turtle head is going to bloom soon. So this was all moved this spring, but looks like it's going to still perform quite well. You can see the buds. That will be looking its best in September. These are a fail. I got little tiny ones because they were out of good sized ones by the time I got there, and kind of disappointing. They haven't really filled in at all. So lately I'm like, this tree has got to go. I planned to put it in the new area when the storm drain project is done. My friend told me she has not successfully been able to move these. It's a self-seeded Eastern red cedar. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to move it. I'm going to try because I really would rather be seeing this beautiful Japanese maple. This is starting to just not look that great. It'll be fine in the background. So I am going to try to move it, and we'll see how that goes. But like I said, she hasn't been able to, so that might be a fail. So this area will be changing. I feel like I'm saying that about every area, but some of these things got moved here temporarily. I thought I might leave these things here, but I ended up realizing variegated, that's not going to work for me. That's going to go. So what I'm most likely going to do here is move one of these June hostas back here. I had 3 when I put this large hosta here, which I love, this Francis Williams hosta. That's going to stay. Now I need to move that hosta June. So I'll probably move that up here. And we'll kind of see what else I might do in this area, but the Joe Pye weed will stay and the Hosta Junes will stay, but maybe get moved around. So, and I feel like I'm thinking that in a lot of areas of my yard right now. I'm just realizing how much this bloodgood has grown, which makes me so happy. I'm thrilled. Like, Japanese maples have been really hit or miss with me, but this is definitely growing. You can see it's touching this. This has got to go. Starting to turn green a little bit, but still a really nice foliage color in the garden, especially next to the Annabelles. It's really nice. I have so many ideas right now. They're overflowing, and it's just a matter of the weather cooperating, getting all this construction over here done. And it's going to be like, this fall is going to be insane. So many projects, so many things moving around, kind of like it was this spring. But this spring, I wasn't as intentional or having a plan as intentional, just trying to save things. Uh-oh. Those ferns don't look happy. What happened? Okay, getting out the hose right now. Okay, we're gonna let that run there for a minute. I did want to point out one sad thing. That Clematis that I moved here died. I think I've had 2 Clematis die out of many that I had to move this spring. So that's not too bad. And this was not one I was particularly attached to. So I'm not seriously mourning that Clematis. Okay, the first year I got this tree, planted it in spring, I believe. July 4th, we went away for the week, came back, every leaf was completely eaten, completely skeletonized by Japanese beetles. This is a white Himalayan birch. I was devastated. This is the first tree that I actually spent money on, like good money at the nursery. Was very attached to this tree. After about a month and a half, 2 months, the leaves grew back. But, after researching a little, they're like, it should live through that as long as it doesn't keep happening. So then the next year, I sprayed with neem oil, but I had to spray constantly. I was out here every day with my big bowl of soapy water, and I was bending the branches down and flicking the Japanese beetles into the soapy water, and I was spraying with neem oil once a week, and I was able to save about half the leaves doing that. Then my dad came, and he said, the Japanese beetles are eating your birch. And I said, I know. And so he went and bought 7. I think we went out of town, and he was house sitting for me, dog sitting and plant sitting. So we went out of town, and he sprayed it with 7 while we were gone. And we came back, and the tree looked good. He said, I saved your birch. I said, okay. But there was no more damage the rest of the year. He sprayed it 1 time with 7. And it was such a relief. I mean, this tree was the most high maintenance thing in my garden, that I had to come every day and pull the Japanese beetles off. And, it's not making flowers. I'm not having a bunch of stuff land on it. So I have started, when the Japanese beetles start to land on it, like you can see there's a tiny bit of damage up there. I come out here, I spray it once, and that's it. That's the last time I have to deal with Japanese beetles. So to me, it's worth it. That is one, I do not like to spray if I can avoid it at all, but it is just so worth it to me for this tree, because I think that it would either eventually die or I would just get sick of taking care of it and it just wouldn't last. But I'm thankful that my dad, led me to that discovery. And I do love the birch. I got it because I was inspired after a trip to Colorado, and the aspen trees, which I don't think will do well here. I kind of watch aspen trees that get planted around the city, and as I drive by them regularly and watch, and they just don't do well here. Birch trees do a little bit better. River birches do really well here, but they do take up a lot of water. I don't think that this white birch will get as large as a river birch, but we'll see. Anyway, I love the tree. I'm glad I saved it. I've been talking about it for long enough. You guys get the point. For me, one spray of 7 is worth it for an entire season of not worrying about Japanese beetles on this again. It's a beautiful night. It's 80 degrees, which is a blessing for us. The sun is kind of glowing on these. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but it's very, very pretty.